Hey guys, welcome to the FitTown show. I'm Coach Tony. Today I'll be talking about the 5 food rules that your whole family can follow. It's going to be simple and straightforward today. I love the Albert Einstein quote that if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. And I think that is never more true than in the field of nutrition, where there is too much information and too much conflicting information at that. So I hope to bring you some really good nutrition rules that the whole family can follow and that you guys could put into practice and keep each other accountable for. This is something that these rules are the rules that we teach in our Fit Kids class. We keep them very simple. And we often hear from parents how thankful they are that the kids brought home these principles and now they talk about them together. So here's the 5 principles that we talk about. The first one is eating for a reason. And we talk about this in the sense that when we come to our workouts, we hopefully, a lot of times the kids are coming from the school, so they have to eat in between school and their workouts so that they've fueled their bodies to work out. And we just help them realize that, hey guys, food is fuel. There's a reason why we eat, and it's to fuel our bodies for activity. And so when they're going to do activities, they need that food to propel them into that activity. So we want to also, on the flip side of that, realize that boredom or frustration is not real reasons to eat. It's not really hunger. And so helping just people recognize hunger, I think, is a big part and maybe the first step of understanding healthy nutrition. Another thing we talk about is confusing thirst for hunger. So a lot of times when we think we're hungry, we're actually thirsty. And if we're not drinking enough water, then we can confuse those hunger pangs we can confuse that need for thirst as the hunger pangs. And so really we want to instill in our kids and our families that the food should serve a purpose and the food should fill you up. And there's also a social aspect to food. Like, we make sure as a family that we gather around the dinner table and say our prayer together and eat together and don't get distracted by phones or TVs in that process. We make the event of eating something special for our family. The other day, also, my son just asked me, "Dad, are calories good?" Because he was noticing that some ingredient lists are very high in calories, and I just talked to him about, yes, calories are great. Calories are there to give you energy. We just have to be mindful of which calories are there with some actual nutrient value to them, and which ones are there in sweets and candies and they're just empty calories, and there's a ton of calories for what you're actually eating. So making sure he knew, hey, if you're going to eat something that's 200 calories, did it actually fuel you up and give you some energy for an activity that you wanted to do? The last thing I'll say about eating for a reason is that in our house, I really try to make sure we're all following good food habits as a family, and that we don't just grab whole bag of chips and lay on the couch with it. Whenever my kids want a snack, I'll have them pre-portion it out in their little cups. I also am mindful of myself to set an example and do the same thing. And even though I want to just grab that whole bag of chips or even trail mix or something like that, I'll be mindful of, like, hey, let's sort this out. Let's make sure I'm not eating too close to dinner. Let's make sure that I'm setting the example that I want my kids to follow when it comes to snacking and making sure that I'm eating for a reason and not just snacking because I'm mindlessly waiting for dinner to come around. Our second food principle is eating more food with less ingredients. So in our Fit Kids class, we talk about eating 1 ingredient foods. And 1 ingredient foods are very simple to describe because when you think about what's in that food, it's just the food. So when you ask what's in an apple, it's an apple. What's in a banana? Banana. The thing that's in it is the food. There's no more ingredients. It is just closest to its most natural state that it came from the earth. That could also mean something like eggs or chicken. Those would be 1 ingredient foods as well. And so what we teach our kids in our classes is that we're not trying to be perfect. We're not saying any food with 2 or more ingredients is a bad food. We're just saying, hey guys, in the course of your day, did you have food that was just close as natural as possible? It came from the earth. It was 1 or 2 ingredients. And then did you have a smaller amount of those long ingredient lists. So it actually teaches them not only to recognize the more natural foods, but hey, when I do have a food that's more processed, how processed is it? Does it have 30 ingredients? Does it have artificial colorings and names of things that I can't even pronounce? That's when we want the kids to really let their flat red flags go up and be like, maybe I shouldn't eat this, or maybe I should save this for the weekend and make it a really special treat to only have every once in a while. And the last thing I'll mention with foods and the many ingredients that are in them is that a lot of times nowadays, like, you get all this marketing of highly processed foods to kids, and they got the colorful packaging, you got um, you know, the athletes or people they admire on the packaging, so of course they want to drink it to be like them. I had the same thing when I was a kid growing up in the 90s. I wanted to eat those Wheaties, even though Wheaties were gross. I don't know why people ate Wheaties, but you wanted to eat it because you saw the star athlete you admired on the box. It is often those foods that are the most processed and the ones that the kids have to realize, hey, did this spend more time on Earth before I ate it, or did it spend more time in a lab in a factory before I ate it? And so just really helping the kids realize, like, oh, this is like highly uh, processed from the factory, or, this is natural coloring from the foods. And so that brings us to our third point of eating the rainbow. And of course, again, back to marketing for kids and what we know from growing up in the 90s, like Skittles were very popular and Eat the Rainbow was a very popular slogan. So we've taken that slogan to now mean, hey guys, let's make sure our plates are very colorful. I know for my own son, Dylan, when he was younger, mac and cheese was the only thing on his plate. So yellow was the only thing on his plate. And then he grew to like things like potatoes, some chicken fingers. So white and tan made their way onto the plate as well. But nowadays he's really adventurous, and we really commend him for being adventurous and having new colors and new foods on his plate. And so what I want to help kids recognize with colors is that, again, there could be colors from a factory, there could be colors from Earth. And when the colors come from fruits and vegetables, and that's a natural color, truly natural, it is because it has a lot of vitamins and minerals that are going to help us be healthy and avoid getting sick and help our immune system. So when we say eat the rainbow, we want kids to eat as many fruits and vegetables as their heart desires, and to venture out into new ones that they may have not have tried before. And eating lots goes well right into our fourth point that we talk about, and that is making friends with cool food, or as we like to say, drink your food. And what that means is, you've probably heard the advice, shop the perimeter of the grocery store. That's advice to make sure that you are grabbing the foods that are having to be refrigerated, meaning they have a water content to them. They're not just the cookies or crackers or cereals that are put in the middle of the store. And so foods that need to be refrigerated have that higher moisture content. So when we say drink your food, it doesn't mean, hey, let's take a hot dog, put it in a blender, blend it up and drink it. We actually mean, hey, when you eat it, like, and you squeeze a food, you break a piece of celery, a carrot, like, is there moisture in there? That will tell you that that is a healthier food compared to breaking up some Frosted Flakes. And so when you shop the perimeter of the grocery store more and you buy more refrigerated products, you are going to fill your fridge more than you fill your pantry. And the last of the five food rules for your family is prioritizing protein and realizing the importance of having protein at really as many meals as you can throughout your day. And so when we talk about protein, you wouldn't really think like talking to kids about macros is that important. But I believe protein is that important to talk about. When our son was growing up and Dylan wouldn't try any new foods, we really made sure protein was the priority that we were always asking him. When our son Dylan was growing up and we had to venture off of just mac and cheese, we knew that protein had to be the next thing that we had to get him to like, in order to have those essential amino acids and building blocks to life. And which was funny because he went from a kid that, again, would not eat anything but mac and cheese to then trying chicken, burgers, and eggs. And then I think for a year, like when he was like 6 or 7, he would literally ask everything he ate, does this have protein in it? Which was cool. Like it was cool for him to ask us, hey, does this have protein in it? Does this have protein in it? He got that excited because he knew the value that protein had. He knew that it was a building block to life and getting stronger, which meant getting better at the sports he was playing. And one of the things I tell my kids, I'm like, look, guys, like I'm 40. I'm pretty much done growing, at least height wise. I might grow outward a little bit, but you guys are in the prime of your growth stage. Like you guys need the best foods more than anybody. And it's so important that you guys get your daily amount of protein so that your body can build into its best possible, healthiest self that it can. Another thing you'll notice when you start to eat more protein, and we notice this with our kids, is that the need for snacking during the day went down because they were more satiated from getting protein in their meals, making sure they had a protein at lunch. Definitely cut down on those that 2, 3, 4 p.m. snacking with more chips and crackers and stuff that they didn't really need, but because their diet previously was very carb heavy, and you get those blood sugar spikes of having a bunch of carbs hit the system without any protein, you're going to be hungry much sooner than you normally would if you had some protein in that meal. So just to recap the 5 simple food rules that we talked about today: make protein a priority, make friends with cool food and drink your food, eat the rainbow, eat more foods with less ingredients, and eat for a reason. Make sure food is fueling your body and your activities. I hope you guys found this helpful, and I hope you put it to work in your families. It is a lot of fun to keep each other accountable. It does not mean you have to be super strict. You can also enjoy those treats and sweets together as well. Have those ice cream nights, have those fun times, but follow these rules for the majority of what you eat, and you will be making a very fit family. Until next time, keep living life to the fittest.